wasn't too long ago that the world was predicting the extinction of the American motor manufacturers, with companies like GM and Ford and Chrysler suffering from woes that amounted to billions of dollars. But they've all pulled through, and I suspect it's because of an adage that was explained to me by a senior vice president of an American motor manufacturer who said, "The best way to get yourself out of a hole is to spend more money." And that's what Jeep has done with its Grand Cherokee. This isn't a facelift or a redesign or a clone of the old one with some fresh bits of plastic. It's been developed as an entirely new car, which isn't a cheap exercise to undertake, I'm led to believe. We were given one to take on a bit of a road trip from Joburg to Polokwane, so we got a good idea of what this flagship is all about. Compared to the old Grand Cherokee, this one has gone under the scalpel. It's a lot less podgy. It is a very imposing vehicle with narrow slits of glass and big 20-inch wheels, so you can get your gangster on. But it still has trademark Jeep bits like the grille, and it's not so hardcore that it's likely to scare away those scores of soccer moms that will no doubt be using theirs to fetch kids from the school, and then use its full-blown 4x4 system to park on the curb. The front end has a very square and rather loud American look to it, which I kinda like, but then it all gets lost in a very generic looking rear end that doesn't quite match the rest of the styling. Love the Americans. While the rest of the planet is downsizing their motors and opting for smaller and more efficient units, they stick with what they know, a 5.7-litre V8 Hemi. The upside is it's got 259 kilowatts and 520 newton meters. The downside is, even though it's fitted with their clever MDS system that shuts down 4 cylinders when you don't need them, the average fuel consumption for this car is still 14.1 litres per 100. Our test car had literally been driven off the ship and to our office in time for our extended drive, which may be a contributing factor to us not seeing much below 16 litres per 100 Ks. If you don't own an oil field and would like something a little less thirsty, you can opt for the 3.6-litre V6 that needs 11.4 litres per 100 Ks. A diesel option will arrive later in the year. So, it's got a big engine with decent power, but it's also got lots of mass. Now, most modern V8 SUVs have an ability to just shrug off their weight when you floor it, but that isn't the case in the Outlander, and it's the same with the brakes. It really feels its weight. The same goes for the 5-speed auto gearbox. In most other big cars, auto boxes don't feel like they're doing a lot of work. They respond quickly and smoothly. The Jeep's transmission isn't terrible, but it just feels a little slow, a little stodgy, a little old school. And to make you feel more involved in the drive, this Jeep is fitted with Select Track, which is basically Jeep's take on Land Rover's terrain response system. You turn a dial and the car sets itself up for the prevailing road conditions like rocks or loose sand, which is good for off-road. But for on-road, they've included a sport mode, which relaxes the traction control. Now, the amount of these cars that will actually see any 4x4 action is pretty limited, but the amount that will be put sideways through a corner is even more limited. The truth of the matter is, this Jeep and all the other Jeeps I've driven seem to be happier in the dirt. We tackled a long, twisty, dusty, muddy, rocky, slippery route that not only required real concentration from the driver, but some genuine talent from the car. And the Grand Cherokee handled it all thanks to the Select Track system combined with its air suspension and low-range gearbox. And it stayed comfortable over every bump. At first glance, the interior looks almost faultless with its nice stitched leather dashboard and its real wood inserts. But on closer inspection, you see that some of the plastics look like they've come out of a Hyundai, and some of the switchgear have a look and feel that is less than premium. And on top of that, these seats are very hard. The cynical side of me can't help but think they were designed specifically for the American market. I got the feeling the seats were made to withstand a fast food-enhanced American body, not a scrawny South African one like mine. Where the Grand Cherokee makes up for its shortcomings, though, is with its standard kit. This Overland version provided just about everything, including an optional DVD system for rear passengers. Our test car packed climate control, sat-nav, keyless entry and operation, Bluetooth, and a panoramic roof. So while your backside may have a bit of a hard time, the rest of your body has plenty to enjoy in here. So the V8 may not be the best, some interior bits might be lacking and some parts of the styling might be a bit too generic. But it all makes sense when you look at the price. You pay 638,000 Rand for this top-of-the-range Jeep Grand Cherokee, which is about the same price as an entry-level Discovery 4. And if you wanted a BMW X5, you'd have to pay 150,000 Rand extra just for the entry-level model. So it may not be the best in the business, but it has huge value. Big American off-roaders and brawny V8s are a legendary combination, and the latest Grand Cherokee is no different, and it's not scared to tackle the rough stuff. The result is a big 4x4 wagon that gets to 100 in under 10 seconds and isn't scared of gravel either. Even so, it lacks some refinement and doesn't always feel like a 21st century machine.